People often ask us, how can burning wood be sustainable? The biomass Drax produces comes from organic living matter from forests that are constantly growing. In British Columbia, forest area must be replanted by law. That stable forest coverage means trees are always growing and constantly absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So when biomass is used to generate energy, like heat or electricity, the CO2 released is that which has been absorbed from the atmosphere by the trees and will again be by growing forests. Biomass is such a small part of the broader forest products industry. It's forest products like lumber for construction that drives harvesting decisions. Those industries need sustainable sources of wood, and we can help make the most of harvests by using low-grade wood that's already rejected by the lumber industry, as well as residues from sawmills like wood chips and sawdust to produce sustainable biomass. Something you often hear is how can it be sustainable to ship biomass around the world? Drax sources its biomass from North America because it has a long-established, well-managed commercial forest industry with a proven commitment to sustainability and the infrastructure already in place. Unlike British Columbia, the UK doesn't have sufficient forest stocks to meet the country's demand. The working forests in the US are about 3 times the size of the UK, and the forested land in British Columbia is about the size of France and Germany combined. Shipping biomass in bulk is also less carbon intensive than if we were to truck pellets from parts of the UK. And we're always working to find ways to keep reducing our supply chain emissions. We work with green shipping partners and always use rail where it's possible. The supply chain emissions in our annual report are independently audited, so we have an accurate idea of what those emissions are and how we can reduce them even further. So people are always interested to understand what wood is in a biomass wood pellet. Drax's biomass pellets are made up of a mixture of different types of wood sources, but it all has one thing in common: it can't be used by the lumber industry. The fiber used to make our pellets are from harvest residues like tops, branches, and what's called low-grade roundwood. But a really important source of fiber for our biomass is byproducts from lumber mills like sawdust and wood chips. Residues from harvest, known as slash, can also be used to produce biomass. In areas without a biomass market, the material is often just burned, mainly to prevent conditions for intense wildfires. Globally, in the first half of 2022, almost 70% of the fiber came from sawmill residues. A question we often get asked is, does using biomass for power produce more emissions than coal? Using coal and fossil fuels to generate power takes carbon out of the ground and puts it into the atmosphere. That contributes to greenhouse gas effect and global warming. Unlike coal, sustainable biomass doesn't add new carbon dioxide to the Earth's atmosphere. Carbon released when biomass is used to generate heat or electricity is carbon that was previously absorbed from the atmosphere by forests and will be absorbed again by new forest growth. We call this the biogenic carbon cycle. And unlike coal, it doesn't add new carbon to the atmosphere. What makes biomass renewable? Biomass is a renewable source of energy because we only source the fiber for our wood pellets from sustainable forests that are replanted, so there's always growing trees absorbing carbon from the atmosphere. Compare that to something non-renewable like coal, where it takes millions of years to form deep underground. When the world runs out, there won't be any more for millions of years. And when coal is burnt, it puts carbon that's been out of the carbon cycle for millions of years back into the atmosphere at a level much greater than forests can remove. Some people will claim that demand for biomass pellets causes deforestation, but this is false. Forest harvesting decisions are primarily to source materials for the solid wood products industry. Products like lumber, which lock carbon in sectors like construction. The fiber for our biomass pellets comes from residues and byproducts of these other forest industry. The biomass industry creates a market for low-grade and low-value wood, which allows us to employ unique management techniques in response to and a proactive approach to minimizing wildfire and disease agents. Drax's involvement in forest management operations helps to encourage sustainable forest management, it supports communities, and it achieves healthy forests across the landscape. So no, biomass does not cause deforestation. So how can Drax say it has a positive impact on forests and nature? A market for biomass also encourages healthy forest management practices, like the removal of trees that have been damaged by mountain pine beetle infestations. This wood isn't suitable for lumber, but we can use it for biomass. Helping to remove the damaged wood opens up the forest for replanting, which helps regeneration and biodiversity.